love you. No, I do, I want to. Falling in love, my cup is running over. Living in your full embrace. Can't stop, love you. No, I do, I want to. Oh, nobody loves me like you love me. You say I'm somebody, someone you love. Heaven open, crashing like an ocean. But you say that I'm chosen.
All right, how's everybody doing tonight? All right, that'll be the highest the energy is the rest of the night.
You want to
We're
switch?
getting serious. What are you talking about? I'm feeling good. Guys, we're talking dating. Everybody say ew. But then also, right after you say ew, go, well. All right, good. Not bad. All right, guys. So a little bit about us. Who the heck are we? What kind of expertise do we have? Why should we be talking to you about dating? Logan, who are we?
Who are we? Should we ask them?
Who are any of us? Guys, who are we? That's fine.
What else do we go by?
J-Lo! That's right. For anyone that's been to Connect Conference, we are also the dynamic duo known as J-Lo. We're Judah and Logan. We've been happily married 7.5 years. Happily
Let's give it
dating
up.
for
7.5
10 years. A decade together.
Yes.
1/3 of our old life we've spent
We're so
together,
old.
guys.
We're so old.
We met online, both from very small towns with populations of like 10 people.
Yeah.
And 5 of them were related to us, and the rest of them were old.
Slim pickings.
So we met online, slim pickings indeed. Met online, went to, we were both having a hard time connecting with other young Christians and singles in our area because there were no young Christian singles in our area. Dated long distance for a long time.
A short time, yeah.
Sure. Long distance dating, short distance amount of time. Then I moved up here to beautiful Sheffield Lake, Ohio, guys. Give it up for Sheffield Lake. Where my Sheffield heads at?
We're here.
Cool.
Yeah. Love it.
That's right, guys. So over the last 10 years, we've tackled a lot of crucial conversations, made a lot of big decisions together, went through a lot of job changes, family losses, ministry changes, met our best bud in the whole wide world, Big Bad Daddy Chad, as we call him. Guys, give it up for Big Bad Daddy Chad. We have, and guys, this is true, we have known Chad for as long as we have been married. Like a month after we got married, we made the mistake of letting someone at the church know that we were looking for ways to contribute. And they immediately, and I'm being serious, held our hand and walked us over to Chad and said, Chad, these are the volunteers I was telling you about. And then when we looked back, Bob, and it was Bob, I can name names, Bob had disappeared into the crowd like Christian Bale in Batman Dark Knight Rises, in Ratatouille, in Batatouille. All right, so yeah, married, continued dating, went through a bunch of stuff, a decade worth of stuff, and we think we've narrowed down our best advice for young dating Christians into some strategies. So, but before we get to ours,
we want to ask you guys.
Want to hear from you guys.
You guys feel comfortable? We'd love for you guys to answer the question on the back of this. Your chords.
I didn't invent the chord. I simply have to deal with it.
We want you guys to answer this important prompt. What do you think are the most important things in a relationship?
So guys, come on up. We'll give you 3 minutes.
Let's go.
Give us some yakety sax.
One caveat, this is Christian related.
Christian related. Most important thing in Christian dating relationships. Guys, come on up and just start writing it down. Grab a marker. Guys, give it up for everybody that came up.
Wonderful.
And then honestly, we got yourself. Okay. We got trust, we got respect, faith, church, honesty, Bible studies, Jesus, loyal. We got a secret. We got loyalness, even more important than loyalty. Love, Christ being the center of it. Commitment. Don't Leave on red. Don't leave on red. We have communism, and we have communication. I call it kindness because it rhymes with
Grug?
grug.
Does it?
Okay.
Does it rhyme?
Gotcha. It does say communication.
We'll talk.
Thank you very much. Great job. But guys, unfortunately, these are all
Bad.
wrong.
They're
But
all
what
bad.
is the most important? I'm just kidding, guys.
No,
These are really good. These are incredible tries, incredible guesses. Obviously, you wrote down Jesus. We're not allowed to say that that's not the most important
But
thing
you
in
know, Judah,
relationships. It is.
what are we missing?
What is the most important part of a relationship?
That's right.
All right.
You heard that right.
That's right. It's farts, guys.
Yep.
It is. And I'll write this down for you. You know what? Turn this back around. No, we'll leave it here. That's right. F. Say it with me now. Another F. And then A. R. T. S. That's right, guys. Farts. The most important part of any relationship. In fact, thank you very much. In fact, I think we have a quote. Can we pull up that quote? That's right. And guys, say it with me now if you can read. If you both nail down the farts, you'll win each other's hearts.
By
C.S.
tradition.
Lewis. Yeah, well, it's not that C.S. Lewis. It's our buddy, Chris Stapleton Lewis, which is a completely different guy.
Love it. Love it.
All right, guys, so we're going to jump into this. I invite you to write as we go. There's a lot of info to get into. We're going to kind of try to move at a pretty good clip because we got a lot of things to get to, and then we're going to have a Q&A at the end. So if you have a pressing question, write it down, save it for the end, and we'll do a little Q&A. Capiche? Caposh. Beautiful.
Awesome.
Logan, kick us off.
All right, so we're going to start with the first F, which I call the silent F.
The silent but deadly F.
It's called fed spiritually.
That's right. Now, if I can have a volunteer, whoever starts reading first.
Matthew 4:4. Can
Someone
someone
read
find
out
it?
the verse.
Or you can, if you can see it, read
It's
it.
also on the board. Go ahead.
You got it?
Guys, give her a big hand.
Yes.
Beautiful. That's right. So guys, our first verse comes from the book of Matthew. And this sounds familiar to you guys. This is when Jesus is in the desert. He is going through a 40-day fast in the desert, in the wilderness, to prepare himself for the work of his upcoming ministry. It's a very important time in the gospel. While he's fasting, he's visited by Satan. Satan appears to him, and Satan tries to use his hunger and his thirst and him, wandering the desert, and he tries to tempt him. So he points out some rocks and he tells Jesus, if you truly are Lord, turn these rocks into bread so that he can eat them. Jesus responds. He actually quotes from the Old Testament. He quotes from Deuteronomy. And he points out that while we need bread to physically live, way more important than that, we rely on the Word of God, right? That is our ultimate bread. And the way that we apply this towards relationships is that to first know the Word of God intimately, right? It's not before you enter into a relationship and before you do really important things like Bible studies, learning the Bible together. It's really important that you guys have a good basis of understanding of Scripture first, right? So why don't you jump into that a little bit and tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, definitely. So we like to think of this as the analogy. If you guys have been on a plane before, they do like that safety kind of protocol in the beginning, like your seat belts for the life rafts or whatever. I haven't been on a plane in a while. But anyway, they also do during emergencies, there might be face masks that come down that provide you oxygen. Does anyone know like the first thing you should do when those go down?
Put it
put
on
on
yourself.
yourself
That's right.
before helping others. And that's kind of a great analogy when you think of like your faith. You want to feed yourself first before you can help feed others, right? And so making sure that that is before you enter in a relationship, making sure that you understand the word and that you are already plugged in, that you have a community around yourself before entering into that relationship. And it should be the same for them as well. There is another point about potential idolization you want to hit on.
Potential idolization.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you tell us about potential idolization?
There is a concern, and it's very valid. Where before you enter a relationship, obviously you probably have a crush, where you kind of like are infatuated by that person, where you can so easily get distracted by that crush, wanting to know more about them, wanting to get in all the nitty gritty, and also wanting to be with them, right? That you can so easily replace the being fed spiritually first with that person. And so you want to make sure that you're not putting that person in that pedestal where God should be in your life at all times, even when you're in the relationship. And we'll get into that as well.
Absolutely. So what can this look like? This can look like a couple of different things. We're going to give, I've seen a lot of middle schoolers, also a lot of high schoolers, so we'll kind of mix this up a little bit. So if you're in middle school, right, you might not be dating yet, hopefully not dating yet, but that's not up to me, although if it was, 35 years old minimum. But what you can start with, right, is starting with, as any relationship starts with, is friendship, right? So you can start by focusing on, finding a friend that goes to, either goes to youth group with you, or a friend that you would like to go to youth group with you, and putting effort into building that relationship, right? Not specifically for romance, not specifically for the end goal of dating, but just focusing on building healthy relationships and learning what it looks like to trust another person, to have a relationship with another person, and what it looks like to make sure that you're being fed spiritually, and that also the person that you're in a relationship with, whether it's friendship or eventually a romantic relationship, that they're also being fed spiritually, and that it's not just, you'll understand this more, I think, as you go into relationships, that person's desire to be fed spiritually is coming from within them, right? Not in an attempt to kind of relate to you, or not, well, they're a Christian, so I want to, do this too. Something that you can make sure that you're both in it together. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, please.
I was just going to share too, if you were here last week, Chad kind of put together like a checklist for what the last question he was going through of being unmarried and married, and like what that kind of looks like. Similar to that, for I think anyone that's interested in dating, kind of run through a checklist as well. Are they an active Christian? Are they an actual person of faith? Or do they just say they're a Christian? Or is their family Christian? Do their actions reflect Christian values that are important to you? And I think that shows even more than just saying that they're a Christian. Do they have good character? Are they trustworthy, honest, kind? And when dating, you, like all of us, you want to make sure that your faith is a central focus, and that is the foundation of the relationship, because how I think Chad shared last week that a relationship when you're in a marriage should reflect how Christ is with the church as the bride. And so just keeping mind of that in the relationship can go a long way, especially at the start, having that as like your focus. And yeah, just practical things like you guys put up here, like Bible studies, doing that together, going to church together. It could look like after church, going for a walk. Hopefully it's warm when you do that. And just talking about the sermon and kind of living that out in your life and sharing deep things that are on your heart, being vulnerable with one another. That's huge in a relationship because, people say like their spouse is their best friend, but like truly, like Judah knows as much as he can on that level of who I am in my heart. God knows me more. And so just be willing to, confide in that person when it feels right, but also know that, what Chad shared last week, like that connection should be with your spouse. And so there may be some things too that you should, not share it sometimes too.
And one important thing that it shouldn't look like, and we touched on it a little bit just a minute ago, and we've also touched on it in youth group in general before, but have you guys ever heard the phrase dating to convert, or missionary dating sometimes it's called? Is anyone familiar with that? Right? It's this idea that you enter into a romantic relationship with someone that isn't a Christian with the goal, right, of like, well, as they learn to love me, I'm sure I can get them to learn to love the faith, right, that they can learn to love Jesus through that. And this can be, an entire sermon on its own, but there's a lot with that can be dangerous. It can be upsetting and destructive both to that person's, prospective faith that they may have one day, if it comes about, in terms of having a relationship with you and that's how they meet Christ, that could be, and that could be great, but it could also put you both at the risk of damaging the faith that you have currently, through maybe a difficult relationship with that person, and it may impact that person's ability, to one day to find that faith on their own. So there's a lot of reasons that we say it's important to date people who are already, established, faithful followers of Christ, which we can get more into, but a note we wanted to land on.
All right.
All right, give us one more fart sound effect. Volume 11, please. That's perfect. And now when we get to the next one, I need a different fart sound effect. So you have like 2 minutes to find one. All right, guys, the next F. What is it?
Future.
Future. Let's get that next slide up.
Can we get another
All right,
person to
another
read
verse
that scripture for
wants
us?
to read this one.
Who can see it? Who can read it? You got it?
Go. Luke 14:28. Guys, give him a big hand. Classic, Luke 14:28. Thank you. All right, so contextually in Luke 14:28, Jesus is he's talking to listeners about the cost that comes with following him, right? That this is a big decision that you're making, that following him takes sacrifice, and that you shouldn't jump into it blindly, right? You should weigh the costs of what you're doing. And it's the same in a relationship. If it's a God-honoring relationship, it's the same with romance, right? You shouldn't just jump into a relationship because, just because you like the person or because you eventually want to get married or you feel like you're at the age where you ought to start dating, right? Dating is important. It's a big life event, and you should take it seriously and weigh those costs well. So. And it's important too because people don't always have the same plans, right? You may not have the exact same, you both want to go to the exact same college, you both want to have the exact same, number of kids or live in the exact same city. That's fine. Those things don't have to line up one to one, but you should have the basics figured out and in common with this person. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So for example, say one of you wants to attend church weekly, you want to get plugged into a ministry, even do mission trips or, whatever, you just want to be on fire and on mission for God. And then say the other person just wants to go to church on big holidays and it's like not really part of their life. That's a pretty big difference of, desires and wants for your life. Very differing expectations too. Maybe also they insist that you go to all of their games, but they have no interest in knowing you and like what you do outside of school. So yeah, again, that is a very differing expectation for that relationship and the desire that you both should have to know one another, right? So before you get too serious, you just want to make sure you have some crucial and hard conversations with that person. And obviously, like you said, it doesn't have to be one-to-one, but it's a two-way street in a relationship, just like how we have a relationship with Christ. And he desires that. You should want that desire also from your partner to know you and put the effort in. And through conversations, we do this all the time. We agree very loudly. Where, he's with communication styles, and you'll find too, as you continue to grow, usually your partner probably has the opposite communication style than you. And so unless you do, and then that's great. I love that for you guys. We do not. And so you'll learn to, communicate in the way that person needs to feel heard and understood. And then also you'll kind of put yourself in their perspective so you can see things differently, right? To humble yourself in that manner, to better, grow together and find some similarities and some plan together. And if it, for whatever reason, doesn't align, then that should be the sign in a way that maybe this person isn't someone that I see a future with myself with, Yeah.
When we first started dating, we had been dating for a couple weeks, and we were at the Cleveland Museum. Shout out Cleveland Museum.
Yeah, yeah,
Guys,
yeah.
it's free. You just have to
Should
pay
go.
for parking.
It's
Great place to
amazing.
take a date. You can look at ancient art. So we were at the Cleveland Museum. I deflated the second I started talking. You don't care. It's a great museum. Anyway, we were walking around outside after the museum, and we were just talking about life and, just getting to know each other and trying to figure out where each other was at. And Logan was much more mature than I was. We're same age, but she's years ahead of me maturity-wise.
That's right.
And so she was asking me, where do you see yourself living? What do you see yourself doing in 5 years? What do you, basic interview questions that you would have for a potential partner. And I was flunking every question. I was just vibing out. I was like, we'll see where the wind takes us, which is not an answer you want from a prospective partner.
Not at all.
I had no plan for what I wanted to do, if I wanted to go to college, what college I wanted to go to, what I wanted to do for a living, if I wanted kids, how many kids I wanted, when I wanted to get married, any of this. And so I was flunking very badly. And we were walking around in this little garden outside of the Cleveland Museum. And at a certain point, Logan stopped walking next to me. And she planted her feet. And she looked at me, and she was very serious, a level of seriousness that I wasn't used to yet. And she looked me in the eyes, and she said, hey, I just want you to know, I really like you. One day I might love you. She's very mature. We had only been together a couple weeks. She's like, I really like you. I think one day I might love you. But I won't let my future children starve because you can't get your stuff figured out. And she nailed it. She nailed it. She got me. I was gotten. And 20 years old, I became a man in that moment. You're like, you know what? You're right. I grew 2 inches taller. I got a job. I became forklift certified within the next year. And we started figuring stuff out. But that was a crucial conversation that we had with each other because I didn't have my stuff figured out. So it doesn't mean that you have to line up one-to-one on every single thing, right? If you both love sports, that's fantastic. Let's say one of you loves sports and the other one loves musicals. Well, that's still great. You can learn about sports, the other person can learn about musicals, and you can still have a fun time. Let's say one of you likes musicals and the other one likes throwing a mason jar full of hornets into bounce houses at kids' birthday parties. That's what we call a conflict, okay? That's a potential conflict that could come up. That's gonna eat into your musical time if they're constantly throwing hornets into bounce houses.
From personal experience.
From personal experience. But I figured it out. I stopped doing that, and I became forklift certified. Just keep that in mind, guys. It doesn't have to be one-to-one. It doesn't have to be every single detail, but make sure that the basics, are they a good person? Do they have a good head on their shoulders? Do they love God? Yeah. Do they want similar things?
Especially at your guys' age, you know? You guys are just,
We're all figuring it out.
Yeah.
30 years old, I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah.
All right, let's hear it.
You guys had so much time.
Guys, let's give him a hand. Guys, give it up.
I think they recorded that one.
Edwin 2.0.
Edwin submitted that one.
Edwin submitted it. They called Edwin real quick, and he farted into the phone.
Yeah.
You have 3 more distinct farts by the end of the night. All right.
Moving on.
Moving on. 747. Sent up to heaven. A.
Attended to.
Attended to. Put it on the board. Matthew 7, 7 through 12. Who wants to read it?
Who's got
Let's
really
get a show
good
of
vision?
hands.
2020. Let's go, Cora.
Boom.
It's the verse. You're good.
Give her a
up.
big hand.
Let's go.
One of my favorite verses. For this sums
did
up
good.
the law and the prophets. OG verse. All right, so Jesus is telling us here that God is he's not a distant, far off God, right? He's not this distant supreme judge that just lords over us, right? He's a personal God who has a personal relationship with us and hears us when we ask for things. And he's reminding us that in the same way that God hears you when you ask for things, we ought to treat others well. We ought to love the Lord our God with all our hearts, and we ought to treat people the way we want to be treated. And that is just as important, maybe more important, in romantic relationships, right? So these verses are about Jesus providing for us. They can also be used for how we ought to treat each other. So A, it's being attended to. Do you feel attended to in your relationship? Do you feel like if you have needs, well, I'll let you take it, but do you feel like if you have needs, is your partner meeting those needs? And if your partner has needs, are you paying attention and are you meeting those needs? So tell us a little bit more about that.
I think you covered it.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
Honestly.
I did kind of go on right through.
Yeah. But,
Please.
warning,
Whoa.
I'll let you roll with this one.
Big one. Okay. So meeting needs, right? That can mean a lot of things. One thing that it doesn't necessarily mean is meeting every single
Material thing.
physical material need that the person lays out in front of you, right? So if your partner says, I would like you to look at me when I'm talking to you, that's a perfectly attainable goal that you should be doing anyway, and if you're not, you can work on it.
Try not to leave me on red.
Guys, communism. Just kidding, communication. Guys, but let's say the person says, well, hey, I just feel like you haven't been buying me enough 2027 ruby red Lamborghini Countaches with Corinthian leather interiors. Well, that is true. I've bought 0 of those for Logan in the past. The last thing I bought Logan was a 2013 Buick Encore with Corinthian leather. It's not Corinthian
No,
leather.
it was what?
It's leather. It's fake, but it feels
Leather.
nice. Yeah, so it doesn't meet every single physical material need, and that's something you have to weigh out for yourself. Is the things your partner is asking for, are they attainable? Are they reasonable? Are they safe? And then same thing, vice versa. Are you asking for things from your partner that are attainable, reasonable, and safe? And if they aren't, then that's when you need to have crucial conversations and figure those things out. So what does this look like?
What does this look like?
What does this look like?
This could look like, for middle school, does this look like maybe your crush, your partner, or whatever, putting an effort into doing things for you, whether that be, I don't know, carrying your books down the hall or making sure you get home safe, like a good text like that I got home safe. Those kind of like intentional kind of acts of service that like have a foundational love behind them, right? Another side of that is checking in and making sure that, if you've ever felt ignored by them, have you told them? This one being attended to, the next letter, we're going to go further into communication. Yeah. But, after you told them, say like, the other day you didn't say hi to me in the hall and I really felt ignored and, not loved, or, however you want to put that. Did you, after you told them that, what did they say? What was their reaction? Did they, reflect and recognize, or do they just brush you off? That kind of shows you their perspective on the relationship. Even further, for high schoolers, have you ever, are there any high schoolers in here that have had a relationship where you felt like maybe unattended to? Do you guys want to share an example? Can you think of it? Huh? Yeah. Is there any high schoolers or anyone in here that's been in a relationship, even leaders that have felt unattended to? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's huge. Yeah.
Guys, boo this man.
Boo this man.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But what's important, and to Ellie's point, right? Like, it can be, it might not be that your partner is like seeing every single thing that you need and doing it before you even know you need it, right?
They're not mind readers.
We're humans.
Yeah,
We need communication. We need to be reminded. So it's important when you remind them. Are they listening? Are they respecting it? Are they following through on things? And same for you.
Yeah. With that same grain, can we get a little?
It's good.
Nice. All right. The R for farts stands for respect. Let's see what the scripture
Respect.
says.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T, guys.
Can we get someone to read the scripture?
Proverbs 22:28.
Yes. Love it.
Guys, give her a
Proverbs.
big hand.
Let's go.
Proverbs 22:28. All right, so this is Old Testament style, right? So we need a little bit of context. So way back in the day, when you were farmers, you would have something called boundary stones, which you would set at the edge of your property to let the other people know, the other farmers know, hey, this is my property. This is where I send all my goats. Please do not send your goats into my property. And it was a really, really big deal, right? Because somebody could come along and they could take your boundary stone and they could push it somewhere. They could move it somewhere, right? And basically illegally take your land. So it was a very big deal. It was illegal, it was very punishable, and it was considered a sin against God to move boundary stones that other people were setting in place. And in the same way, in our life, in relationships, you will have boundaries that you're setting with people.
As you should.
As you should, kings and queens, clock it. You should have boundaries that you are setting with people. And those boundaries should be respected. Now, those boundaries should also be reasonable and safe and attainable. But most importantly, those boundaries should be respected.
Yes. And I know when we think of like boundaries, we think of like setting the physical boundaries, but it also could be emotional boundaries as well.
Yeah.
Just be mindful and having those conversations of where you have that line. And we always say, always go for the most conservative boundary and that be the standard for the relationship.
Yeah.
I did like this. I'm not sure where we got this point, but I'll say it. It isn't all about avoiding temptation. It's also about protecting testimonies and protecting against false accusations. Especially when you guys are not married, you definitely want to be mindful of your actions with one another, and making sure that, again, like you're not causing anyone to stumble, especially that other person or yourself, and also making sure that how you're being viewed is not causing any stir outside that relationship.
Yeah. So, like, as an example, let's say you're in a romantic relationship with someone, you're discussing boundaries, and let's say one of you says, my boundary right now is that I don't want to, hold hands right now, right? And for right now, that's a physical boundary I have with you. Let's say the other person's boundary, they don't really care about that. It's not as important to them.
You're supposed to smack it away.
Oh, get out of here. The other person doesn't care that much, but they respect your boundaries. So your boundary is here, their boundary's up here. They come down to meet your boundary. Now let's switch it. Let's say your boundary is, I don't want a handhold right now, and the other person's boundary is like, well, my boundary is that we have to hold hands. Every single day we need to hold hands for at least 10 minutes or whatever.
That's not a boundary.
Right. Like, that's technically, they're allowed to tell you that is their boundary, and you are allowed to say that's a deal breaker. That's not the same as breaking their boundary. That's hearing them out and rejecting it and saying that's not something that I'm comfortable with, right? Pushing a boundary would be you say no hand holding, the other person says fine, but then they keep trying to hold your hand.
Yeah.
This is also an allegory. This can relate to other things, not necessarily hand holding, but I'm 30 and that's gross and you're baby, so I'm not going to say it. But you know what we're talking about. All right, next up, make it crazy.
Wow.
Short
That was
and
a
sweet,
conversation.
and I love
Speaking
it.
of, next one is talking it out.
That was a yes and.
Yeah,
It was an
that
offer.
was a yes and, yeah.
And then a response. Talk it out,
right.
James 1:19. Who wants it?
Who wants it? Who wants it? You go for it. Love it.
Boom. So here in James, we're talking to early Jewish Christians. They're scattered across the Roman Empire. They're facing a lot of social pressure, a lot of tension, a lot of internal tension within different churches. this is, it sounds like advice about just being polite, right? Being nice. But he's more specifically, we're being taught that if we can't control our reactions when we're stressed, our faith isn't actually reaching down into our hearts, right? It's a surface level. And so in relationships, being swift to hear, and I really like that phrase, and if you have notebook paper left, write down, swift to hear, slow to speak. Being swift to hear means that you stop formulating your comeback, right? You're talking with someone, they're talking, they say something, and you're like, ooh, I got them. I know exactly what I'm going to say in response to that. And then everything they say after that is just noise until you get the opportunity to
Spit it out.
slam dunk them, right? So be swift to hear. Be ready to listen, have full eyes, clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose. Being slow to speak is, it's like putting a filter on, right? Not just saying the first thing that comes to your mind every time it comes to your mind. In romantic relationships and friendships and relationships with your parents, it can be really easy to just say the first thing that comes to your mind, but thinking about it, thinking about how that will affect the other person, thinking about if it's kind, if it's honest, if it's helpful, is a really good thing to have. And when you're slow to wrath, wrath is not a word we use a ton now, but being slow to wrath, being slow to anger, being slow to violence means that you choose to handle a problem in a calm, cool, collected manner. In every relationship, you're gonna have fights, you're gonna have disagreements, you're gonna have things that feel like you can't get past them. And no matter what, it's important that you're approaching the other person with love, with patience, with kindness, and with wisdom.
Yeah. So what does this look like? I think the biggest advice I think we can give for talking it out is do it in person, not over text, not even over call. Do it in person, and just do it with that person. Don't bring friends involved. Friends are good counsel, but they're not in the relationship, right? It's between you guys and God. So just be mindful of that.
All right, last one.
Let's go.
Super important. 8 o'clock. Guys, let's break it. Give me a crazy one. Make it the best one. That goes crazy.
So
All right.
to end it for the farts.
One last one, the S. And I know
is-
we just played a huge fart sound effect.
This one's pretty serious.
We're bringing it back down.
Yes. This one's about
Safety.
safety.
I know.
Who can we get the
Bring
last
it up.
one? Who wants
Psalm
the last
4:8.
one?
Last one,
Last
guys.
one. Last one.
Last one,
You got
last
it?
one.
You got it? Big and loud.
Give him a big hand.
Yes.
Peace and safety. All right. We're going to try to do this quickly, but obviously this is the most important thing. If you write down anything tonight, if you remember anything about this talk tonight, after being fed spiritually, after future planning and all that, before all of that is safety. Are you safe in a relationship? This can mean a lot of different things, right? Are you physically safe? When you start dating, when you enter into relationships, this might be the first relationship in your life that you have with the other gender, with someone who's a lot bigger than you, with someone who has a much different temper, a much different emotional state than you. And it's important that you keep in mind that in every single relationship like that, you're going to have conflicts. You might have arguments, you might have whatever.
Especially as you're setting boundaries.
Especially as you're setting boundaries and that person is testing boundaries and stuff. So it's okay for there to be conflict. It's okay for there to be arguments. It's never okay to feel afraid, to feel unsafe, to feel that the person you're around can't be trusted with your physical safety, with your heart, with your emotion, with your heart, right? So we really want to dig into that because I think what can become a temptation in relationships, right, as you start dating, as you maybe become intimate, as you progress through the relationship, maybe it's the longest you've ever had a boyfriend or girlfriend, you feel like you're talking about marriage already. At some point, if you ever feel unsafe, it can be tempting to think, well, I'm in too deep, right? I'm too far into this relationship. I have too much invested. We're at a place physically that I never thought I would be with this person. We're talking about getting married. It's never too late and you're never too old to talk to your parents, to talk to another trusted friend and confidant, to talk to an adult. If your partner ever speaks to you in a way that makes you feel unsafe, if they ever treat you physically a way that makes you feel unsafe, or you see them treating other people in a way that makes you feel unsafe. It's never too late. You're never in too deep. You can always talk to an adult, talk to a parent, talk to a friend, and get out of that relationship. So
They're supposed to be mirroring God's love, and God's love doesn't make you feel unsafe, right?
yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Capiche? Kaposh.
All right.
Guys, love you so much.